Hello and welcome back. Hello and welcome back to Mate's Tottenham blog and to the Brighton versus Tottenham match preview. Today we're going to be talking about the predicted lineup, the team news, the apparent halftime events during the game against Liverpool on Thursday. We're also going to be talking about our predicted 11, which is, I think it's all over the place at the moment. Who do we actually think is going to be playing in this one? There are just so many questions that need to be answered. We're also going to be looking at how we expect this game to go, and as well an interesting record with Brighton and their recent home form, which does not bode well for them. But of course, as we all know, that could be something that comes to an end against Tottenham. Before we get into it, if you are new to the channel and you want more of these live streams, we're going to be doing a live watch along for the game later on, and we're going to have a load of content coming up over the next week as well. So for the Tottenham Fan Voice podcast, Tottenham Hotspur Transfer Talk, and live watch alongs as well, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Simon Cohen coming into the stream. How are you, Simon? Saying, are you doing a live stream tomorrow for deadline day? I might stream tomorrow evening for about an hour. There's not too much to be gone about. I don't want to be doing a whole day stream because there's not going to be any news. It'll be a waste of my time and yours. But we will do a little something tomorrow night for deadline day. But look, it's such an important game later today for Spurs. It's absolutely massive, and it's disappointing that our season has come to the fact that a game against Brighton is so important to us, because I think if we had beaten Liverpool on Thursday, as go into the game we probably should have, this game would still be an important game, but for very, very different reasons. And I'm an extremely confident Spurs fan. I always try and look at the positive side of things. But if we come out of this game tonight with anything less than a victory, I think we are in big trouble, and a lot of questions will have to start being asked of the manager, the players, everything really, because this is the season where we were supposed to go on and win trophies. Of course, we're still in the Carabao Cup final, we're still in the FA Cup, we're still in the Europa League. There is still the potential for us to go on and win trophies like that, but today is just so important to all of that, and it's a massive concern. Now, the injury with Harry Kane is not as bad as first feared. We know he hurt his right ankle, I think, in a challenge with Thiago Alcantara, and then a little later he hurt his left ankle when he kind of came down out of an aerial battle with Jordan Henderson, and it was essentially the fact that he had two ankle injuries is what forced him off in the end. Now, Jose Mourinho has said they expect this. It's not as bad as previous ankle injuries, and they have been waiting until the swelling goes down before they can scan it. So I'm sure that has been done by now, but we haven't gotten any update on that. But it'll be very interesting to see how that goes. It seems like Tottenham are targeting a game on the 20th of February, which I think is against West Ham, for Harry Kane to return. So only 3 weeks out. Now, it just so happens we have a load of games in that 3 weeks. It's typical Spurs luck, but at least it's not as bad as first feared, because we know when Harry Kane goes down, especially when it's something to do with his ankle, we all fear the worst. And it's not as bad as that, thankfully. There's another game for Spurs on bum. Chelsea currently 1-up against Burnley. It'd be good to see Burnley turn that one around. Leo saying, would you play Tanganga? I think the whole defence just needs to be swapped. The defence that we're playing at the moment is not working. Players making individual errors, and Tanganga, I don't know why he wasn't in the squad at all for the Liverpool game. A lot of people were expecting him to start that one, and he just wasn't in the squad at all. So I suppose starting with the defence, it has to be Hugo Lloris in goal, of course. Sergio Reguilon is missing on the left, so I would assume it's going to be Ben Davies playing in left back. I know Jose doesn't really like to play him in the left back, and when he does opt to use Ben Davies ahead of Sergio Reguilon, he does seem to play him as a left centre back. But we just don't have any options for a left wing back at the moment. Matt Doherty cannot, and I emphasise cannot, end up in left wing back in this game or in any game in the future. I think even putting him in right wing back would be quite concerning. But I think Tanganga deserves a start simply because he's not been one of the players that has messed up in recent games. Dyer, I've defended him this season because he's been useful to the style of football that we play, in terms of just when the ball comes into the box, heading it out. But every single game, he seems to make a mistake, and more often than not, as a defender, it's just part and parcel with his job. That mistake ends up with the ball in the back of the net, and it's not his fault. That's the situation he's in, but he is in that situation, so he needs to prevent making such consistent mistakes. He can't play. He will. I mean, I'm 99% sure he will, but he absolutely shouldn't. I personally would start Tanganga and Rodon in centre back and a 4, because they're players who they have a place in the squad to fight for. They're not in a position where they think their place in the team is a given, which I feel Eric Dyer is like that. Toby Alderweireld definitely deserves to come back into the team. He hasn't been flawless this season. No player has, but I just don't know why he's not getting into the team, and why Jose now seems to see him as a fringe player. So, if it is going to be a 4 at the back, I would put Tanganga and Rodon in the middle. If it's going to be a 5 at the back, I put Alderweireld in the middle with Tanganga on the left, or Tanganga on the right, and Joe Rodon on the left, and then Davis out in left wing back. And I play Sergio Aurier in right wing back. Now, I know there's a lot of doubt over Sergio Aurier and his immediate future at Spurs, because of reports about the the halftime spat during the game against Liverpool, chance here for Chelsea. No, not comes of it. Now, there's a lot of reports that have come out. The first one is that they went into the dressing room, and of course, we conceded the goal just before the halftime whistle with Firmino getting in past Dyer and Lloris, managing to tap the ball into the back post. Now, there are reports that Serge Aurier went in there into the dressing room and started giving out to Eric Dyer and Hugo Lloris, and then Lloris and Aurier had a bit of a confrontation. Not too dissimilar to the incident with Lloris and Son late last season, when they kind of clashed on the pitch just before they went in for the halftime break. There are other reports that Joe Rodon went in there and said, the defenders there are worse than the ones he plays with at Swansea. Now, there have been a lot of fake accounts on Twitter in the last week with Spurs news aggregators. So I'm not entirely sure how true, just with the sheer volume of reports that we're seeing. It almost feels like just none of them are true, because there's so many differing reports, and there are reports like just fine details that are very different. But even Serge Aurier himself responded to a post on Instagram essentially saying that it wasn't true. Now, of course, he was taken off the bench, and it would not surprise me if something did happen. But even after that Lloris and Son incident last season, Jose Mourinho said that's the type of thing he likes to see. He likes to see is the passion in it, that the team cares. It's just you don't want that to reach a boiling point and move on to something a bit more serious, something that really shouldn't happen. Football fan Tanganga saying he'd play him. And look, I think the majority of Spurs fans are the same. He was good against Wickham, playing out of position on the right. He dealt really well, I thought, with, was it Anya Dinma, Rick Biezu down that side. And every time he's played, he's done well. I can't remember him being on the pitch for any game and thinking, well, he could have done better there, or he probably shouldn't play the next game. And the difference between him and Joe Rodon, I think, both of whom I do think deserve to start. Joe Rodon has made mistakes. He unequivocally was at fault for that third goal against Liverpool on Thursday, but he was just so good in the other 89 minutes of that game. As he was against Chelsea, he made one or two mistakes, but aside from them, he was really good. And it's just down to the fact that he's inexperienced at this level. No matter what quality you have, when you're coming into a team like Spurs, coming up from the Championship, don't get me wrong, I love the Championship. It's a great league, and Swansea are a great team as well. But with Joe Rodon, he is just inexperienced at this level, and adding to that, he's not getting consistent game time, so you can't expect him to come into the team and be absolutely flawless, especially when he's coming into a defence that is just not good enough. Essentially, it's just not good enough, so you can't put that on him. But the only way you can get him to a stage where he's not going to be making these mistakes is putting him in the team time and time again, getting him that game time, getting him used to the style of play, getting him used to this level, to the physicality, to the way opponents play. And I think that the next 2 or 3 weeks are a really good time for him to do that, because we need to change things in the defence. What we're doing right now just is not working. It's costing us points. Again, I could rattle off 6 or 7 games this season where our inability to defend has cost us points. So Joe Rodon, I think he can be the man to turn that around. I work with a Swansea fan who was absolutely heartbroken when Joe Rodon left, because he is such a fantastic footballer. And there are a lot of Championship fans who don't understand why Joe Rodon isn't getting the game time at Spurs. So, look, hopefully he can get that time today. And Paul is saying the same, saying this is the team I'd like. Hugo Lloris in goal of Jaffa Tanganga, Joe Rodon, Toby Alderweireld and Ben Davis. In the middle, Sissoko, Højbjerg and Ndombele. And then Gareth Bale, Carlos Vinicius and Heung-min Son. We'll get onto that in a minute, the debate of who should be starting up front. Barry asking here, will Vinicius now start? Couldn't believe he didn't come on last game and Kane went off injured. Simon seems to want him starting as well. Front three of Bale, Son, Bale and Carlos. It's a very strange situation, because for so long we've been calling out for a striker, a confident, capable striker who can fill the void of Harry Kane when he's unavailable. And when Carlos Vinicius has started, the only game where he hasn't gotten a goal contribution when he started was the last one he started, which I think was it against Wickham on Monday. Every other game he started, every game before that he started, he ended up with a goal contribution. He can score, he can get assists, and he's a striker. He's the type of player that we need up there when Harry Kane is unavailable. And this is the chance for him to kind of make his mark of the team if he does get the opportunity. And there were reports last week when we were talking about Spurs being interested in Danny Ings, and one of the main reports, I think it was from the Daily Telegraph, were saying that if Spurs aren't happy with Carlos Vinicius at the end of the season, they're looking to cut his loan short and then bring Danny Ings in as a replacement. But I don't see how we could be happy or unhappy with Vinicius's performance when he's not getting enough game time. So this next 2 or 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever it is for Harry Kane's absence, could be absolutely crucial to Carlos Vinicius' time at the club. And he absolutely needs to start today, because he brought on Lamela. Mourinho brought on Lamela against Liverpool and put Son a bit more central. Then later on, Bale came on and he seemed to play a bit central as well. And there's no point in signing a striker for the amount of money we could potentially be spending on Vinicius when you're not going to use him, and you're going to use wingers as kind of inverted strikers, I suppose. It's just not good enough. We have a striker there. Put him on the pitch. He deserves it. Even the Premier League games he played against West Brom, he was influential. He made that space for Harry Kane to get the winner. He absolutely needs to start tonight. And if he doesn't, I think questions do really need to start being asked of Jose Mourinho. And I asked questions of Jose on Thursday, because when the lineup came out, I was concerned. I didn't think a 5 at the back was what we needed to do. I thought 4 at the back, the 4-3-3 that we usually play, would probably be best to counteract Liverpool. Match their formation is try and overload them in the middle of the park and what is a weakened midfield, and then try and catch them in the counter attack with a slow defence who's just inexperienced and out of position defenders. And he played with the 5, and I thought it worked well in the first half. And then he made that change of system. He brought on Winks and Lamella. The subs, just so many questions need to be asked, and the change of the system made the game a lot easier for Liverpool. It swung everything into their favour, and I think it is eventually what cost us the game in the first 5 minutes of that second half. So questions do need to be asked of Mourinho as much as questions do need to be asked of the players. And if Vinicius doesn't start this game today, I think those questions will be a whole lot louder. Blake saying, should we maybe bring someone who's been good in a youth team up to try and play just to give the current defence a boot to get it together? It could work, and there are a lot of managers out there who would do that, but I'm just not sure Jose is one of those managers. He just seems to like the defence that he has at the moment. And look, off the top of my head, I can't really name too many defenders from those youth teams that could deserve a space in the team, but there are young players in and around our first team that do deserve that chance, like Tanganga, like Joe Rodon. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes there. Wayne Bonner saying Tanganga is a solid defender, stick him in fullback, Toby and Rodon centre-backs, give Vinicius a start. That's also an option. If Serge Aurier isn't available, I do not want to see Matt Doherty playing. So maybe a chance to get Tanganga and Rodon on the pitch and get Alderweireld back in the first team. Maybe that is the way to go. Tom saying, do you think we should buy Vinicius permanently and give him a chance to step up in the next few games? Don't get him permanently now, because there's a whole lot to be done in terms of proving himself in the team. Paul saying, if the reports are correct, Aurier should never wear a Spurs shirt again. If they are correct, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure they are. Welcome Killian to the stream. Good to see you in here. Wayne saying, how many times do we have to bring in a backup for Kane and then leave him on the bench and bring someone else on? It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And today is a chance for Jose to really give Vinicius his opportunity, as is fully deserved. Paul saying, time for several players to step up, but Jose also needs to step up with team selection and fluid tactics. Today is such an opportunity for everyone to prove themselves. And I'm talking about Jose, I'm talking about the players, I'm talking about kind of individual sections of the team in terms of the defence, the attack as well. I don't know how we're going to shape up in this one, and a lot is going to be asked of the lineup when it comes out, no matter what he goes with. If he goes with a 5 at the back, there'll be people saying it should be 4, and vice versa. Everything is going to be questioned now, and this is what happens with every team when things start to go wrong. Everything is questioned. What players are going to be playing, what formation is being played, how are we going to approach the game tactically. And Lily White Lane says, huge game today. The right team is crucial. Absolutely, 100%. And team news will be out at about 6:15. We'll be live on the watch line here from 6 o'clock tonight. So we'll be here for a live reaction to the lineups. Make sure to join myself, David Harris, and Marcelo as Chelsea at the post there. It's going to be a big team decision. In the middle of the park, I think Højbjerg and Ndombele, of course, are the first names in the team sheet at the moment. Sissoko has to get back into the team. We've missed him in the time that he's been gone since that game against Fulham. He came out, was it in the post-match interview or maybe an interview a couple of days after, and he said Jose told them to defend in that second half, and I don't think Sissoko has had a minute since. And it almost seems like we're getting to that point now where Jose Mourinho's team selections are personal. With Dele Alli, we've seen the documentary when he came in and started giving out about defending and playing the ball long. That's really when the relationship between him and Jose Mourinho really started to decline. And perhaps we're seeing something very similar now with Sissoko. Sissoko coming out and I suppose contradicting what Jose said. And Jose's been saying he's telling the team to attack. And Sissoko's like, well, actually, we were told to defend. It can't get personal with team selections. And this is something that has been to Jose's detriment in the past at his clubs. He's made things like this personal. And at the end of the day, Sissoko is a player we need in the middle of the park. So whether Jose is happy with him or not, on a personal level or on a professional level, he's good enough to be in that team. He deserves to be in that team. He needs to be in that team. And that's how Jose needs to make the team selection. Charlie, good to see you here saying, what do you think the reason is for fringe players not stepping up when needed? Mentality, ability? It's a bit of both, really. And it's also a case of when they do get into the team, the first team players around them just not performing well enough as well. I think it's similar to Thiago going into Liverpool. And a lot of people questioning him. Now, I don't think he's as good as Liverpool fans do feel he is, but at the end of the day, when you're going into a team, when you're going into a new system, a team that you don't usually play in, and it's the same for fringe players and new signings, you need the players around you to be playing well in order for you to be able to perform and show what you can do. And, if the 7 or 8 consistent starters aren't playing well, the fringe players don't really stand a chance. And that's what we've seen, unfortunately, in the last couple of weeks. Thomas James Smith coming in with the £2 super chat. Thanks for that, Thomas. Really appreciate it. So keep up the good work, Matt. Fair play. Thanks a million for that. Paul said, I hope Marcelo takes a few cameras before the game. No, look, it's passion. I know some things were said maybe the other day that shouldn't have been said. At the end of the day, we're all just passionate fans. We all want what everyone's watching. The 45 of you that are watching right now, we want 3 points in this game. And that's what we want when we're watching the games as well. And sometimes maybe the passion and the heat of the moment does get the better of some of us. But yeah, he will be back on for the watch along later on. Alan saying, I think Jose needs to stop being stubborn with Dyer and realise he's the one who constantly costs us points. Said on my channel, Lily White Lane, Jose keeps on showing favouritism to players over others. And that is the case. Now, people do often make the point that perhaps Jose is picking Eric Dyer just because, they have the Portuguese link. And that could be true, but it's not at the simple reason you played in Portugal, I'm Portuguese, let's be best friends. It's the style of football that Jose Mourinho plays is, of course, it's always going to be influenced by Portuguese football. And that's where Dyer did the key part of his training when he was developing as a footballer. It's why he's not classed as homegrown, because he did do the majority of his development at Sporting Lisbon. So there is that kind of link between them, that Dyer has trained in a very similar style of football to one that Jose Mourinho implements. So it is a bit more than just we can both speak Portuguese, let's play together. Charlie says, Dyer must be dropped today. This is getting ridiculous with the favouritism. Dyer is not good enough. Back two of Roden and Toby today, please. I agree. I absolutely agree with you there, but I just can't see Jose dropping Eric Dyer. I really can't, and it's painful to say, but I do think we will see Eric Dyer in there today. And Simon here saying Rose deal is off. Rose was looking to join Trabzonspor, but that deal is off as confirmed by the Trabzonspor president. Essentially, there's just COVID restrictions are getting too much in the way of this, and it would take about a week to complete the transfer. And of course, with deadline day tomorrow, that one will not be happening. So Rose will be seeing out his contract, it looks, at Spurs, and probably leaving at the end of the season. That was an interesting record for Brighton and their home form. They haven't won a home game in 225 days. Last June, it was the 20th of June, they beat Arsenal by 2-1 with Neil Maupay scoring a last minute winner. I love talking about that game. But that's the last time they won a home game. They're the only team in the top 4 English divisions this season who have not won a home game in the league. Look, if we're talking about Spursy, it looks like they're probably going to win this game today, but let's not talk about that. Let's be confident. Anyone who watches this channel knows I'll always try and look on the bright side of things, and they're going to try and do that now. We're going to a team who they just cannot get points at home. I don't know what it is. I'm sure they don't know what it is either. But since they got into Premier League, season on season on season, they've been getting less and less wins at the Amex Stadium, and this is something that Tottenham can go and try and exploit. If we go here with confidence, we go out and play our own game. If we try and take the game to Brighton rather than sitting back, Brighton have underperformed their expected goals more than any team in the league this season. Every single week in the XG philosophy after Brighton play, you see, people asking for how much did Brighton win in the XG by today. They do it every single game. I don't know what it is. They create opportunities that they cannot put them in the back of the net. And if we can do the opposite, if we can take our chances today, this could be a very easy 3 points for us, because they just can't put the ball in the back of the net. Now, if we win today, if we get points against Chelsea on Thursday, and by points I mean 3 points, and if we beat West Brom next Sunday, 3 wins and 3 in a week, we have the momentum. We could be back in pole position for a place in the top 4. I'm not going to talk about the Premier League title anymore. I was trying to be optimistic. I was trying to be confident and talking about that, but that's gone. There's no chance we're winning that Premier League this season. But if we win these 3 games, we're up in 42 points. West Ham are above us by 2 points. Leicester above us by 6 points. I can't see West Ham especially really keeping that lead. I can't see them anywhere near the top 4, top 6 towards the end of the season. And Leicester, as they did last season under Brendan Rodgers, and as Rodgers has done in recent seasons, I think they will drop off. So this is a really, really big week for us. But if we lose today, I think that could be it. I really do think that could be it, because there's just no bouncing back from what we've suffered, what we've struggled with in the last couple of weeks, with last couple of months, with dropping points against stupid teams and now starting to lose these games. A defeat today could be the end of our season in the Premier League. Of course, there's still a lot to fight for in the other 3 competitions. Charlie says, today is also a massive test of mentality. Without Kane, we must score early so it doesn't play on our minds. We will see in today's performance who cares and who is downing tools and not good enough. Alan Lily White Lane saying, if I was manager, this is the lineup I would go with. Hugo, Toby, Roden, Tanganga, Reggie. If he's fit, Reguilon will be missing this one. He's out for another 2.5 weeks. Højbjerg, Sissoko, Tanguy, Vinicius, Son, Stevie. And that's it. The midfield seems to be set in stone for everybody. Højbjerg, Sissoko, and Tanguy and Dembele. The attack seems to be a case of Vinicius, Son, and one other. And the defence seems to be Toby, Roden, Tanganga, and one other, which will probably be Ben Davis. So the fan base are pretty decided on what the lineup will be today, but that never seems to translate to Jose Mourinho's selections. There always seems to be a bit of a difference in that one. But I would agree with that lineup. Stevie or Gareth Bale seems to be the debate. But I would go with Steven Bergwijn. I think he's really, really improved since that game at Anfield. It was really important he didn't let that get to him, and his confidence doesn't seem to have been affected by it. So he just needs to get on the pitch, get a goal or two, put a bit of form together, and he could be a really important player for us going into the final stages of the season. And as Slushy Deluxe here says, we can't even draw today. We can't. It's not good enough at this stage. Sam is saying the same. Our confidence is shot today. It's a must win. The league's starting to sort itself out now. Paul says Brighton are a big physical footballing team who will be difficult to beat, but I'm going for a 2-1 win and getting the top 4 push back on track. Everyone, put your score predictions in the live chat now. We'll take a quick run through those. Paul going for a 2-1 win, and as you say, getting the push for top 4 back on track. It's still possible. Anything is possible in this season, and one of the things that's keeping me the slightest bit confident is just how congested everything is and how crazy this season has been. Right now, if someone told me Sheffield United are going to stay up in the league, I would not be surprised. Just by the way this league season is going, it's absolutely bizarre, to be perfectly honest. And that's one of the main things that's keep me confident. In terms of score predictions for myself, I think I might go the same with you, Paul, for a 2-1 win. I just don't predict Spurs to keep a clean sheet anymore. I said 3-1 in that game against Wickham, even though they're a championship side stuck at the bottom of the table. You just can't see us keeping a clean sheet against anybody now. So I would say a 2-1 win there as well. Football Fan says 2-0. Thomas says 1-0 Spurs with Bale getting the goal. Simon says 3-1 Spurs. Slushy says 2-1 to Spurs. Charlie says 2-1 to Spurs as well. Blake says 4-1 whoever replaces Kane to step up with 2 goals. Carl says 3-1. Stiggy saying 2-1 Brighton, Dr. Tottenham inbound. Look, I used to get annoyed at Spurs fans for predicting a defeat. I really did. What's the point in supporting a team if you're not going to back them? But I'm at the stage now where I would not be surprised if that was the case, Diggin, and I don't blame any Spurs fan for predicting a defeat at this stage. It's disappointing, but I think it's just where we're at the moment, and yeah, it's just not good enough. Yeah, look, as I said, we're going to have a live watch along later. Myself, the Irish Hotspur, David Harris, and Marcelo will be going live at 6 o'clock, predicting to the lineups, reacting to lineups at 6:15. We'll have a fan show starting at about 6:30, running through till 7 o'clock, where our members can call in and have a quick chat with us about the game. Then, of course, kick off at 7:15. We'll be running that, of course, for the 2 hours of the game. Then we'll have an instant match reaction afterwards. We have a lot of content. A lot of content coming up this week. Actually, I want to say as well, I'm also on the Last Minute Winner podcast at about 3 o'clock today. So make sure to tune in for that. I'll get a link there and throw it into the live chat. It's basically a Premier League halfway review with Rob Hogan, who of course was on this channel after the Liverpool game on Thursday, and he has been in the past as well. So I do recommend going over to check that out. It's going to be a fantastic show. Link there's in the live chat if you want to go over and set a reminder for yourself. So we have that at 3 o'clock today, of course, to watch along. Then at 6, and the instant match reaction after that. We're going to be streaming for about an hour tomorrow, talking transfers on deadline day. Tottenham still looking for a replacement for Dele Alli if they are to let him go to PSG. But I think, and the same as everyone, that I'd be extremely surprised if anything happened on that one. So that's Monday night. We'll probably do something Tuesday night as well. I haven't decided what that is just yet. And Wednesday we'll have a live show previewing the game against Chelsea. And then on Thursday we'll have the Chelsea match preview, or the Chelsea live watch along. On Friday I'll be on the LFC Day Trippers with the Friday forecast at 10 o'clock Friday night, and then next Sunday we'll have the watch along for the West Brom game as well. So make sure to smash that subscribe button if you don't want to miss any of that content. Hit the like button if you have enjoyed this video, and if you do want exclusive access to extra content, including player rating videos after every watch along, starting with today's one. You also want access to the call-in shows before every watch along, and many, many more perks. Make sure to hit that join button down below, and everything will be explained for you there. Charlie here saying in the second half against Liverpool without Kane, our XG was 0.3. Big trouble, in massive trouble, if that does continue. But anyway, yeah, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and click join if you do want to become a member. As always, to everyone who has joined over the last 25 or so minutes, thanks for watching.